to me, like my biggest tip for a long distance relationship is communication. And not just like talking, but making sure that your communication styles are the same. Because some people are okay with talking like once in the morning and once at night, and that's it. And that's like, they're okay not talking to their partner for 3-4 days. That's fine for them. That's not how I am personally. So like, if your communication style is like
It's
kind of
different.
detached and mine is kind of more needy, then we're gonna get into arguments because you're not gonna feel bad for not talking to me for 3 days, and I'm gonna feel like.
Hey guys, welcome to the Blog Podcast. Once again, it's your boy Vic, and today we have Tori in the house.
What's up? I'm Tori. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Today we're gonna be talking about long distance relationships. But before we start, I'm just gonna let Tori like kind of introduce herself and tell us what she does and whatever, and then we'll start.
Alrighty, I am Tori. My Instagram is Tori212Green if you know me from there. I have a podcast. I'm an entrepreneur. My podcast is called Tea with Tori, where I talk to women about what makes them extraordinary and the things that they're doing in their lives that have made them successful, what they're going through, just basically breaking the mold on what society says a woman should be and just kind of showing them what a woman actually is. And aside from that, I'm an influencer. I'm a content creator. I do a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats. Pretty much anything creative I'm involved in some way.
That's dope. That's so dope. Well, welcome to the podcast today. Hey guys. So we're gonna be talking about like long distance relationships and stuff like that. I guess everyone kind of knows what long distance relationship is, but for those that don't know what long distance relationship is, long distance relationship is basically if you're dating somebody that's like not around the vicinity that you're in, or like someone that's kind of far away, or someone that you don't get to see all the time. So that's kind of like long distance relationships. So like we're gonna start with you. Like, what do you think about long distance relationships?
So this is actually really funny because about 3 years ago, I did an interview with World Star where I gave like kind of relationship advice. And one of the things I say is very strongly like long distance relationships don't work at all. And now I'm in one. And the way I kind of relate it to like is this movie that I watched called He's Just Not That Into You. And it's one of the funniest movies to me because it's one of the first like romantic comedies that women kind of got that was like, it's not always a happy ending. Like the guy doesn't always show up in the rain. Like, I'm sorry. Like sometimes shit just like doesn't work out. And one of the things that like has always stuck with me from that movie is this line that a guy in it says, and he's like, listen, like in every romance, there's like the rule and then there's the exception. He's like, everyone will say like, oh yeah, like I know this girl who she told me her friend slept with a guy on the first date and now they're married. And it's like, okay, but I know like 90 girls who slept with a guy on the first date and he never called her again. So there's like the rule and then there's the exception.
There's always an exception.
So
like,
that's the way I think about it.
Right. There's always an exception. I feel like people like kind of say like, oh, I'm never going to do this, or I'm never going to do this. Like, oh, I'll never, like some guy will be like, oh, I'll never, like, or girl will be like, I'll never date a guy that like doesn't pay my bill or whatever, like, you know. And then they will meet like some guy that like they end up like falling in love with,
and they're paying his bill and shit.
And they're actually paying his bill. Exactly, bro. Like you can say whatever you want to say, but like, or some guys would be like, oh, I'm not ready for a relationship or whatever. I don't want to date anybody right now. I just like my life. Imagine if they run into like Rihanna and like, exactly. Are they gonna be like, oh no, I'm not gonna date her. I'm just gonna be like, oh, I'm not ready for a relationship. Hell no. Of course, like there's always an exception to like everything, you know. So like I was the same way. Like before, I was like, nah, I don't like. I was like, I don't like long distance relationships, and like I've tried it before, but then I was like, nah. But like my current relationship right now, I'm like, it's actually like a long distance relationship, and we've been together for like a minute now. And it's like,
how long's a minute? Because you hear like a New York minute or
no. A minute that's like going on like 2 years, kind of.
Oh, so like that's, to me that's longer than a minute.
Yeah.
That's a long ass minute.
Yeah. Like going on 2 years. Like we've been together for a minute, cause like we were friends before that though.
Okay.
So we were friends, and then like we started dating and shit like that. So yeah, it's been a minute. But at first, and actually like my relationship before this like was actually a long distance relationship.
So you seem to love those.
No, I actually don't. I actually like, I don't know like what it is. And it's like I actually broke up with my ex because I didn't want to be in a long distance relationship. And then I ended up dating another person that was in a long distance relationship. And it did like it doesn't even make sense. Like it doesn't make sense, but at the same time it kinda did because like I felt like the other person that I was dating before, I was an athlete and she was also an athlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was a soccer player, but like she never really had time to like travel, and whenever she's in season, like I'm like doing stuff. I'm like in season, and whenever she's not, like it's just like the timing was just like always like conflicting each other. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So like, but like with this one, she's like more like chill. She has like she's more doing things remotely, so she can visit more. So it's like she visits a lot more. So it's like it doesn't feel like a long distance relationship, even though it is.
That makes sense. Mine is kind of the same way in the sense of like I work from my laptop, so I can really be anywhere that I want anytime. And as long as he's not in training camp, he can pretty much come and go as he pleases as well. So unless it's like training camp mode, was pretty much the first whole year of our relationship, he was in training camp. So I literally,
For what?
he trains a boxer. So he's like, will literally go into strength and conditioning training for like 3 months leading up to the fight.
Oh.
So he'll be like training twice a day, 6 days a week, like on his grind. So unless I go to him, he literally cannot take time off unless it's like a birthday or something that it's like calls for it, you know?
So like go, got
Not
you.
just for fun.
I got you.
Also, he's in Puerto Rico and I'm in LA. So even if like he gets like, oh, you have 2 days off this week, it's like you're not going to go across the world for 2 days. So when I go there, I'll stay there for like 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks.
Okay, that's good. So you guys kind of find a way to make it work. So that's how it works.
You have to.
Yeah.
If you love someone, you really make it work. And that's like my whole point is I've tried long distance before too. I clearly did not like it either based on my entire World Star hip hop stance. But again, I was not looking for a relationship. He was not looking for a relationship. We met each other, and as corny as it sounds, we literally like fell in love. And I just like, I don't remember a point that we were ever like not like seriously talking to each other. Like there was no like questionable phase. There was no like, do we like each other? Because literally the day after I met him, he went back to Vegas to go back into training camp for the week. Like he was just in LA for the weekend. So it was like, are we going to talk? Like, I don't even know. And we wound up FaceTiming every day for like 8 hours, like just on the phone till we like fell asleep. We still do that same thing. So it's like, to me, if you're going to put in that type of effort with someone, then that's the type of person that it's worth going long distance for. That's the type of person that you wait for, you know?
Yeah. Especially like, another thing, like long distance relationships, like when we're on the phone, I feel like we just talk. Like we're not, like it's, okay. Some of the things with long distance relationships, why it can't work. If you guys, like, I remember when I was in high school, I used to date this girl, right? The relationship was great while we were together. But when we got out of that, like being together, and I went to college and she like went to college, like the communication was just weird. Like I would just be like, hey, how you doing? How's your mom? How's this? That's it. Yeah. And then she'd be like, hey, how you doing? How's your day? How's this? That's it. But like with this one, it's like, I'm just like, we just be talking like, oh, I did this. It's just like, it just keeps flowing. So like that just makes things a lot easier. Like if you guys don't have like proper communication or like it's not really flowing, it can't really like work like that.
I feel like it really forced us to build communication because after we met, like we didn't even kiss the first time we met. Like we literally met and we talked, and then he got my number, and then he like went back to training camp, and we only FaceTime. So we really quickly started going like deep into questions and just like figuring out about each other and really communicating, because that's all we had. Like there was no like touching someone on the arm to like tell them that you like them, and like those cues, I would literally have to be like, hey, like I kind of feel like I like you, and I have to voice that because like I can't just kiss you right now because we can't kiss right now. I can be like, I want to kiss you, but like that's not the same. It like really forced us to get to know each other because that was the only option.
How long have you guys been together?
This month will be 1.5 years.
Oh, so that's been a minute.
Literally, I wouldn't describe it as a minute though.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
I
we've been
mean,
together for a while.
a minute is like a minute is like a 5 minute,
like a minute.
like a minute, like a wow. That's
But
what.
to me, like, that's why I always have to clarify, because it'll be like someone will say like, yo, like for a minute. I'm like, how long? They're like 3 months. So it'll be like 3 years. I'm like, there's
Yeah, a minute is like a minute means like it's been long. Whether
Yeah.
it's like whether it's like 1 month, it's like a minute means like it's been a while. Like, you know, that's what I feel like a minute is. Okay, what are some things that you feel like are like the hindrances to like long distance relationships, like that will make long relationships not work, for example?
I feel like the two biggest pillars for long distance relationships are communication and trust. And I feel like we definitely live in a generation where like everyone and everything is accessible all the time. Like you can literally
All the time.
DM any girl that you find hot from anywhere at any point in time. Like there used to be a time where you'd see a girl in a magazine and she'd just be a girl in a magazine, or you'd see a girl in a movie and you thought she was hot and you'd just see her in the movie. Like now you can look her up, find out how many followers she has, and like potentially slide into her DMs. Like it's a whole different time. So people already have such trust issues when it comes to a relationship with someone that you can see in your face all the time, that it's really hard to take it now to a situation where like, all right, if I call my boyfriend and he doesn't answer, I really can't be that bitch that's like, where the fuck are you? And we're even on different time zones. So it's like, you really have to get a hold of like of your trust issues and your trauma and be like, do I trust this person? Do I not trust this person? Like, I'm not about to become toxic because of trauma that I've been through that makes me not want to trust someone when this person hasn't shown me that.
Right.
So like trust and communication are the two biggest things for me for making a long distance relationship work, because those are definitely two things that are already hard in relationships for people to make work.
Right. Okay, how do you even build that trust? For example, like you just met this person, you guys were talking for like 3 months, and then you guys started dating long distance and everything. Like, how do you even like start to like build that trust and be like, okay, I actually trust this person like enough to be like, okay, like I trust you to do your thing, and I know you're not gonna do some fucked up shit.
Well, okay, so we started off long distance, and like our dating period was long distance. Then he asked me to be his girlfriend about a month later, and then he was out of training camp. So he's back, and we're like kind of starting to build our relationship with like being together. Then he had to move to Miami, and he asked me to move with him like 3 weeks after that. So 3 weeks into dating, we're now moving to Miami together. What I tell you, the acceleration of my relationship is crazy. So then from like January to April, like 4 months, we lived in Miami together, to then he moved to
like 4 months.
4 months we lived together. Then training camp moved again for him to Puerto Rico, and that's too far. that's completely different lifestyle change. So I went back to LA, and we did long distance, and we're still long distance now, and we're trying to figure out how to make it less long distance, but careers in life. And I'm a patient person. I believe in delayed gratification. I believe in timing, and when things are supposed to happen is when they happen. If you were supposed to be somewhere else, you would be. So to me, like, I just try to find the silver lining in everything. And a lot of things that I hear people complain about with relationships that aren't long distance is that they never get me time. They never get like that like time to be alone anymore. They don't get to focus on themselves. So anytime that we are separated, I just try to take that extra me time and that extra like focus on my career and those things that tend to fall a little bit to the side when you're in a relationship and you're like, oh, I'll stay in the bed for 10 more minutes and cuddle. Like, no, I'm going to get up and like make sure I go to the gym every day. Like, I'm going to take that time to focus on myself, because if one chain of the fence is loose, the whole fence falls apart. So however you're working is how your partner should be working. So you're building something strong together.
That's actually great. I didn't think of it like that.
That's the way you have to think about it, because like otherwise you're just kind of sitting there by yourself, like bored.
Right.
Like, where's that other person, instead of like focus on you.
Right. I feel like that's actually a good point, because like I feel like another reason why like my relationship has lasted this long is also because like I'm like a super busy person. I like it's like it like kind of works perfectly, because like she visits like pretty often, so she's in town like pretty much every month basically. Like she'll come for like a few days or like 2 weeks or whatever, and she'll go for like, but she's pretty good with like visiting me and stuff like that, because I'm so busy. So like even though we're not together, like when I have free time, like whenever I have free time, like we're always like on the phone, like talking, like FaceTiming, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't even feel like it doesn't feel like a long distance kind of, because like we're always on the phone, we're always talking, we're always like chilling, like we go to bed together, that stuff.
Oh yeah, we sleep on FaceTime. My roommates make fun of me all the time because he'll be in Puerto Rico and his like Wi-Fi will go out because it's an island, and we'll all be watching something together. Like we were just like deep into Ozarks, so we'll all like me and my roommates will watch it at the same time that he's watching it in Puerto Rico. And like his Wi-Fi will stop and his episode will stop, and he'll be like, "Hold on, pause it." So I'll like pause it. My roommates are like, "Did you really just pause it?" I'm like, "The Wi-Fi's out in Puerto Rico. I don't know what to tell you guys."
Oh
like,
my God, that's so
or they'll
dope,
just
though.
be like, they'll come into the kitchen and say something to me, and they'll be like, "Oh shit, like I didn't know, like you're on FaceTime," or I'll be talking and they'll come in and be like, "Were you talking to me?" I'm like, "No, I'm on FaceTime. I'm in a whole different conversation." Like there's always another person in the room when you're talking to me because I'm almost always on FaceTime with my boyfriend.
Oh, that's cute though. That's cute for real. Like I feel the same way. I feel like I'm always like, if I'm not like doing stuff, I'm like always on FaceTime. With my girlfriend.
Literally.
I'm like, thank God for FaceTime, by the way. Because
Shout out to
yeah,
FaceTime.
Shout out to FaceTime, because
I couldn't do this without FaceTime.
Right. If it wasn't for FaceTime, it would be like so much harder, like to like do it. Especially like, oh my God, like.
Could you imagine like wartime when you had to like write to your wife and you would get a letter 2 weeks later?
It wouldn't even work. It wouldn't.
Could you imagine like
even work.
not even hearing like if your husband's alive at war?
It wouldn't even work.
2
like,
weeks later.
There's no freaking way. Cause like it's like what, and then it's like, nah, it wouldn't work. But
Now it would be like live updates from Vietnam, like Twitter.
look at
your husband would be tweeting you like,
Yeah.
"Baby, I'm dodging these bullets for you."
right.
Like, that would
Why
be
he's at
now.
work? Why he's at work?
While he's at work.
So it's made it like so much easier. But like I also feel like really like the way technology has made a lot of things easier, but it's kind of made things harder too to some extent, because of technology, there's a lot more options, and then there's a lot more people that you can talk to, and there's a lot more like accessibility. So like if you're not really like strong with your partner, like your relationship, like you can literally like be like, okay, like I'm trying to do some other shit, or like I'm trying to like, you can literally like be doing whatever if you don't really, because like there's so many options now, and there's so many. But like when you like really trust somebody and really love somebody, like it just happens. You just make it work.
I feel like it's like people have kind of gotten to the point where they've started cherry picking, and by that I mean like you'll look at someone and you'll look at all like their good attributes and you'll be like, "Oh, I'd rather date that person," but you're not really looking at like their negative qualities and the qualities like that you wouldn't have known about the person that you're dating unless you would have gotten to know them this well. So like you're probably not seeing that new person's negative qualities either, and you won't see that till further into the relationship. So to me, it's like that whole saying of like the grass is always greener on the other side. Like, no, it's greener where you water it. Like, to me, whatever you work on is what grows, and whatever you give energy to and like foster and give positive energy to is what's going to grow and what's going to be better for you. Because my parents met when they were 20. They've been together for almost 30 years. Like, I watched a marriage like work hard, and it's not always sunshine. Like, they weren't happy every single day, but they made the choice every day to work.
That's literally what relationship is, bro. Like, and I feel like social media kind of like confuses people, or like some people like that it probably hasn't been like in like an actual relationship. They like go on social media and like see like how all these things are, and then they assume like that's how every single situation is or should be. And it's like, bro, yeah, there are gonna be moments like that, but like there's also gonna be like a lot of moments that like are gonna be hard and like very difficult to deal with if you don't really, really love and trust this person.
I feel like also like people go on social media and they see these couples posting, and it's like the same with kids too. Like, you'll see a new mom and she's like posting her and her kid in the same outfit and like being so cute, but like social media has really taken the flaws out of society, and it's really taken away people's even want to like show their flaws. No one wants to. Everyone wants to be perfect. Everyone wants to have the perfect relationship and take that perfect photo, and people aren't talking about the downsides. They aren't talking about being up fighting till 3 a.m. They're not talking about how they got dressed for work and their kid puked on them and then they had to put on a matching outfit. Like, no one is being real. So everyone's thinking that everyone else is doing things so easily and seamlessly and without struggle and without flaw, and it's really making people even more insecure about their flaws.
Insecure. I know people that like even like to even go on social media, even to post a picture on social media, they like struggle. They have
Freaking
like
out.
major anxiety to like post. I'm like, bro, it's just Instagram, bro. But it's like they're like,
no, it's all the people. It's
yeah,
all these people
like,
who
all
they
this,
care about their opinions.
all these
I'm
people, right, like why do you care about all these people's opinions so much that it like kind of like consumes you? Like, I'm like, whatever. Like, social media just doesn't even like mean crap to me, bro. It's just like whatever.
social media is, I love it and I hate it at the same time. I love it because it can bring so much awareness to causes. It can bring so many people together that otherwise wouldn't have been together. It creates communities. It creates connections.
Networks.
So many beneficial things come from social media and from the internet, but also so many detrimental things. So many people that their entire opinion on who they are and what they should be doing has changed because they looked at some influencer that had like 7-8 million followers, and she said that what she said in something in a story that like you have to eat this in the morning, and like suddenly you're eating this every morning, and like why? Because some girl with a lot of people that follow her told you that she eats that every morning. Like why? And it's because we've literally gotten into this like FOMO society where everyone wants to like be a part of everything and be involved in everything and just like really kind of like be the best at everything because they think that everyone else is succeeding at such a high rate, but that's not even what's happening.
That's not
like,
even the people that they think are succeeding
aren't succeeding like that. Like they're not. They're really not. Like they took 18 photos before they chose that one. Like they're no different than you.
They've been grinding. Yeah, exactly. They've been like, or some of them have been grinding for years, and then you see them and you're like, oh, okay, this person is living like. The person like went through all these things that you're going through right now to get to that stage. Like they didn't just like magically like get there, you know what I mean? So it's like people don't really see all these things. People just go on social media and like pick out like the little,
they cherry pick. And that's literally one of the things that like I want to break down with my podcast is I feel like even more so than men, like women are so expected to look perfect, and now like you're supposed to be a boss, but you're supposed to be docile. You're supposed to like take charge and make a lot of money, but you're still also supposed to like learn how to cook and take care of kids. Like you're supposed to kind of play both roles now as a woman, to be like that boss bitch that like the archetype has kind of created a whole new demographic of women that are supposed to be doing it all. Women can have it all. Like you see this everywhere. And to me, it's kind of created this disconnect between women feeling like they can do anything to feeling like they have to do everything. And you can't do everything well. You're going to fall short in some areas. You can't be the best at everything. And it's really easy to make it look online like you're the best at everything. I could literally order something from a restaurant and put it on a plate and tell you I cooked this. Like you don't have to be there for the full time. And there are so many people doing little shortcuts like that because there's so much money behind it. And then you kind of get to the point where you're like, wait, how are you the best at the gym and you're the best mom and you're like the best at everything and you have 4 businesses and they're all the most successful businesses? Like, I'm sure there's a part of truth to that, but you're not going to sit here and tell me there's not a day that like you don't want to get out of bed and you want to like literally stop doing everything that you're doing and you have doubts about yourself and your future and your life and what you're going through.
Right. So now we're going to talk about like tips to like help people that are like want to be in a long distance relationship, or like tips to like just help people in general that are like trying to be in one or like they're already in one.
I was about to say, I don't think anyone's ever trying to be in a long distance relationship.
I
First
mean,
of all, don't ever look for that. Don't do that.
Some people probably have like someone that they like and they're like thinking about it, like, do I want to really be in a long distance relationship?
Should I do this?
Or should I do this? And then it's like, oh, I see someone else doing it. Maybe I can actually like maybe it's not that bad, you know? It's actually bad, guys. I'm kidding.
No, it's not
works.
bad. It has its, I feel like everything has its like shitty moments. Like even relationships that aren't long distance, like there's something bad that y'all are going through too. Like,
right, exactly.
There's literally people that are like, don't spend a second away from each other, that wish that they had some air to breathe or a few seconds to just like go do something by themselves. So to me, like my biggest tip for a long distance relationship is communication. And not just like talking, but making sure that your communication styles are the same. Because some people are okay with talking like once in the morning and once at night, and that's it. And that's like, they're okay not talking to their partner for 3-4 days. That's fine for them. That's not how I am personally. So like, if your communication style is like kind of detached and mine is kind of more needy, then we're gonna get into arguments because you're not gonna feel bad for not talking to me for 3 days, and I'm gonna feel like shit. So make sure that not only you're good at communication, but your communication styles match up, and the amount that you guys want to communicate with each other is similar. My second tip would probably be figure out what your trauma is, because it's going to rear its ugly head, and I promise you that there's going to be something that happens that it's not even your partner's wrongdoing, but it's going to hurt you for some reason. And it's like the communication styles, like it's not someone's intention to hurt your feelings by not answering you immediately, but there are going to be times where you're going to feel like it's a personal attack, and you really have to look at yourself and be like, why do I feel like that? Why do I feel like the world is ending just because my partner didn't answer like one FaceTime immediately? It shouldn't be like that. That's my own trauma. That's my own attachment style that I need to get a hang of. And there's a lot of like self-reflection that you have to do if you really want to be in a long distance relationship, because you spend a lot of alone time. You spend a lot of me time. You spend a lot of time like just with yourself and your thoughts, because you're not really going out and doing like the meat market, like going on dates and all that stuff. So that time's not taken up. You're not really hanging out with your single friends all that much, because they're like out looking for the opposite sex and like out doing crazy stuff. So like you really spend a lot of time solo dolo or talking to your partner. So it's just a lot of like honestly self-work, which I'm always down to do.
And I also feel like transparency. So like if you're in a long distance relationship, it's kind of hard to like maintain trust or like even build trust. So like if the more transparent you can be, the better it's gonna help. Cause like if like, and what I mean transparency is like, for example, right? If you're going out, or like also reassurance, but let me talk about transparency, for example. Like if you're gonna be doing stuff and like, let me say your partner like asks you like, oh, what are you doing? Like instead of just like trying to give them like little bits and pieces of what you're doing, you can just give them like the whole full like thing, like not try to like hide things away from like what you're doing, because they're already far away from you, like they don't really know what's going on. So when you tell them that certain like this is going on, and then they find out that like you're also doing this other thing that you didn't tell them, it kind of seems like you're trying to hide something. So like I feel like just be like super transparent, because like transparency also like builds like trust too. And I was gonna say also like reassurance. So like when you're like in a long distance relationship, there's gonna be moments where like you feel like you're gonna feel like, oh, maybe this person like doesn't like me as much, or this person doesn't like, this person may be doing stuff, or this person like, just so many like things, because you have a lot of alone time. So like there's a lot of thoughts going on in your head, and I feel like just like reassuring your partner like literally like helps so much, because like even though they know you love them, even though they know like sometimes when you just tell them like, oh, I love you, or like, and I really want to just like all those kind of things, it's like it reassures them to be like, okay, like yes, his head is still there, or like her head is still there, and like she's still like really really into this. I feel like
it's also important to find out each other's love languages, because like I'm kind of shit out of luck because my love language is touch. So it's like I'll get really really sad, and there's literally like nothing that can even be said to me to make me feel better, because the way that I communicate mostly like my love is physical touch. So me not even be able to be like hugging you, like it's not even just sexual. I feel like people think, oh, like physical touch, of course, like that's what you're missing. Like no, like I'm talking about like the hair stroking, the forehead kisses, holding hands, like cuddling while you sleep. Like those are things that mean a lot to me. So to not have them, other aspects of love language definitely need to come up more, which it's like, it's weird because it's not always something that like everyone is the same with. Like there's 5 different love languages technically, if you like think about the ones that they do the tests on and the quizzes. And I feel like there's the way that you express love versus the way that you receive love. So if you and your partner kind of know each other's love languages and know what's more lacking in the situation, you can kind of like pick up the slack in other areas. Like I know, okay, if I'm not getting physical touch, I'm going to be like, baby, like I need to hear that you love me today. And like, so it's not even
Words
bad
of-
to
words
ask
of
for it, you
affirmation.
know? Like I just I need you to tell me you love me right now. I don't know why, but I'm feeling like that, and I need that to hear that from you. And like your partner should never be weird about that and be like, no, like why do you need to hear that from me? Like tell me. Tell me
Right.
you like why is it so weird to say that? So definitely finding out each other's love languages, because there's words of affirmation, there's physical touch, there's gifts, there's acts of service, there's so many different ones. So it's like you really need to figure that out, because like for me, I would rather you do an act of service for me than like send me a gift. So for me to feel more loved, you could be like, oh my God, I just bought her like this $1,000 thing and she didn't even care. No, all I really wanted was to like
Right.
spend 15 minutes on the phone, like, or
Right.
together, just like being with each other in quality time. Like, I don't even care about that. And then you sound ungrateful, but it's like, no, we just need
No,
to
it's
like communicate on love language.
Exactly. Some people like, for example, my love language is like words of affirmation and like what's the other one? Like when you do stuff for another person.
Acts of service.
Acts of service.
So like
Right.
if someone like filled your tank
so
for
if,
your
like,
car,
someone,
like
if
you
someone
would love
like
that.
just did something to you just to make your life easier, just like
Mhm.
whatever, something that like that's really two big things for me. And like I feel like if someone like gifts is really not even like in my thing at all. If you got me a gift, I'll just like be like thank you, but like like I'm not like, and people be like, oh, maybe he doesn't like, no, I do appreciate it, but it's just like I would just rather like I'd rather have you like reply my email for me. like something like, you know what I mean, that
like
even
walk my dog, like clean my
Exact-
kitchen. Like I'd rather
exactly.
you like help me with my life.
than like give me a gift, like, you know what I mean, I
Yeah.
can care myself. So like I feel like that's the big thing. I think another big thing, again, like tip that can really help like with like long distance relationships is like visiting each other more.
Oh yeah.
So like
As
if
much
you
as
can
you can.
as much as you
Literally.
can, like effort, like if you can try as much as possible to like visit each other more, I feel like that's gonna really help a lot. No matter how much you talk on the phone and no matter how much you do things on the phone and you trust each other, I feel like sometimes you like kind of need that physical presence. Like
No, 100%. And I think the most days that we wound up doing was 22 days separated. And I literally like, that was an ultimatum for me. I'm like, 2 weeks is max. Like anything more than 2 weeks. And like, I start getting annoyed with even FaceTime, because now I'm mad at FaceTime. Why am I mad at FaceTime? I'm mad at FaceTime because that's the only place that I can even see you now. And so now I don't want to get mad at you. So I'm going to get mad at FaceTime. Like, it's just, it takes it to a whole different level. I feel like if you get over like 2 to 3 weeks. So that's why I really like give it to those army wives that do like literally like a year while their husband's in Afghanistan and like crazy things like that. Cause I'm over here stressing about 2 weeks.
yeah, like
But like,
I don't know how you do it, but they
it's
just do it.
insane to me. Like a year.
Sometimes you don't even get to talk to this person for like 6 months, because like if you're in camp or like you're in like military camp, you sometimes don't even have your phone for like a
Mhm.
while, like, and it's like, how do you like, I really give them props, because that's like really really hard.
No,
Yeah,
it's really stressful because it's just like people have gotten so needing to know everything. Like you can literally go on Google and ask any question and find like 200,000 articles about what people think about something. Like everyone wants to know the answers to everything. Another big tip I would give, and like honestly, this is probably going to go one of two ways. People probably will not be the happiest or they'll be really happy about this advice. But one of my huge things is like share location. And it's not even for just like, I want to see where you are and what you're doing all the time. Like, I think it's a safety thing. Like, I share location with my parents and my siblings and my best friend because, like, if something were to happen, they would know where I am, where my phone is, where my last known location was. Like, I share my location with my partner because also if I'm not answering my phone and, like,
you know where
I know, like, he knows where I am, I know where he is at the end of the day because, like, we have each other's location. And it's not something that I use to, like, be like, oh, like you said you were here and it says you're here. Like the only time I'm ever even checking that is like, oh, he didn't answer me. I wonder what he's doing. Oh, he's at the gym. Like that's literally like what goes through my head. And it's like just that little like reassurance of knowing that you can check in on anyone at any point in the day and know exactly where they are is something that you usually have in a relationship that you're like that you live together and stuff.
Right. With the location thing, I actually agree. I think locations help, but like I feel like it can also be a bad thing. Like
it can definitely get toxic if like you let it get that.
Yeah, like if you have good like trust for each other, if you have like complete trust, like whether you share your location or not, it doesn't really matter. But like if your trust is not like completely like 100%, and then even when you have the location, it's like, oh my god, what's happening? Let me go see what's happening like right now and thing. And then sometimes it's like your head start going in like multiple places, or like let's say like he's like you see the location that he's somewhere like whatever, he's not at home. Like in your head you're thinking, what is it? Like there's so many things. Just I'll just rather not even I'll just rather just build this thing on like just trust, because like,
well, yeah, you don't share location for trust, you share it for security. Like I want him to know where I am at all times. If you're having someone share their location because you don't trust them, then that's completely different.
Exactly.
Don't do that shit.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
weird.
That's a whole different thing, because like if you're sharing it because like you're kind of like, that's kind of like that can cause a lot of problems. I want to say.
My thing is like, yes, if you're like, you need to share your location because I need to see where you are at all times, and I don't trust that you say where you are when you say like you're there. Like, no, I'm like, if I'm somewhere, I want you to know where I am. Mm-hmm. There's never going to be a point in time where you're going to think I'm somewhere that I'm not, because I'm not lying to you. And that's also like, that goes into trust. I'm just the type of person that unless you give me a reason not to trust you, I'm going to trust you. And you're going to have to I'm very aware. I'm very vigilant. I don't even speak on it half the time, but I peep everything. So like, you're either going to give me a reason to trust you or a reason not to. I'm not going to go into it just like walls up not trusting you, because that's just not how I am. That's, if you go into something that way, then that's what you're going to attract. And I want to attract open and honest people. So I go into things open and honestly. And the more honesty you put into a relationship, the more you build trust, because you're going to have those uncomfortable conversations where it's going to be like, well, why do you still follow your ex? Or why did you like that girl's Instagram photos that like we met that one time? Or like weird, like that's not even like a conversation I've had. I honestly like liking people's pictures on Instagram. That's stupid shit. Like I've never understood, like girls are like, oh my God, your boyfriend liked a picture of a girl's ass on Instagram. I'm like,
so what?
I liked the same photo. Like I'm not understanding what the situation is.
I never understood that. I think a lot of people try to make that into like a big thing. And I'm like, bro, I don't even get it, because like I don't even think. But I had an episode about this one time, and I'm like, a lot of people don't even know
who likes their picture.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no idea.
You have like 5,000 people like that like your picture, and like you think I know every single one of them, or like you think. Like if someone likes you, they're gonna DM you.
Yep.
Like they're not gonna just like your picture and just be like, or like, you know.
To be completely honest, it's the more sus people that like don't like a picture on Instagram so their girlfriend can't see it and then they DM. Like I would rather see everything.
Like I'm not saying you're just going like liking it because like you want to just like salivate over this person, but it's like if you just see a picture and you just like it, sometimes you don't even think about it, you just like swipe and you're like, oh, okay, cool, whatever, you know what I mean?
Well, I think a lot of women have a problem with like if your girl was liking the same like sexualized photos of men that you're liking of women, how would you feel about it? And a lot of guys are like not okay with it. Yeah.
Oh, really? That's the thing. I feel like
it's like a lot of guys are down to go to a strip club with their girl, but like how many guys are down to go to a male strip club with their girl where there's dong on stage and not titties,
right.
you know?
So you see,
it's the double standard.
That's the thing. There's a lot of double standard when it comes to that. Yeah. But like me, I personally don't feel like if my girlfriend were to like sexy men photos on Instagram, like I actually don't care about those kind of stuff. But like, you know what I mean? So if she doesn't like me doing it, I'm like, I don't really. It's like
that's why you have to find out the why though. Like what is it rooted in? Like a lot of girls have issues with guys liking over sexualized photos on Instagram because it's the same guys that don't want their own girlfriends to be over sexualized on Instagram. And it's like you can't go liking all these things and essentially like giving these girls credit and props when you're like tearing me down for the same thing. Or it'll be like, oh, like there's actually a very popular meme that's going around right now where like this girl with a fat ass walks past and the guy like looks and the girl looks and then they like dap up and everyone's like, oh my god, I want a girl like that. And then some girl commented under it, yeah, but how many of y'all are down to dap up your girl if a sexy man walks past? Like, there's this girl that's literally, she was like, y'all want to be the cool girlfriend so bad. Like,
I didn't think about
literally it's things that like, it's the double standard that like women are so crucified for, like, oh, you get so jealous. And it's like, no, I just kind of want even fair treatment. Like, if you can watch a girl like jog down the street and like you want me to be okay with that, why can't I like watch a sexy man?
Right. I mean, I feel like the whole dapping up thing is like a little extreme. Like, it's just for content, right? You
Literally.
know, no one literally like daps up someone for like, but like you can be like,
I've definitely seen guys look at hot girls and dap each other up because they like both noticed a girl is hot.
No, but I'm saying like if you're with your partner, like if I'm with if you're with a girl or your girl or whatever, like, and you see a girl is hot and you're like, oh, okay, she's hot. That's it. You're not like, oh my god, like she's hot, like, hey, you know what I mean, like. That was just like whatever, but like, yeah, exactly.
No, but she's like, keep that same energy. Like, if she's dapping you up like that and y'all are hyping up this girl, like, you better hype up the guys that she thinks are hot.
Yeah, like, yeah, a lot of guys will have issues with that.
Yeah, it's the same guys that want you to high five them for looking at a girl's ass. It's like, that's the reason. Like, women really, at the end of the day, like, when I get into a lot of discussions with my friends, it's not really that they have issues with that. It's that they have issues with the double standard. They have issues with the fact that you want to be allowed to like look at beautiful women and like that be okay, which it should be okay. Like, you're in a relationship, you're not dead. Like, your eyeballs haven't been cut out of your head. They're still beautiful women. And that's why, like, I don't care. Like, I'm so confident in myself that I can look at a woman and think that she's hot and talk about that with you and not have it threaten me personally or me think that you're going to choose her over me or anything like that. And that's, again, like, that's why long distance relationships are really hard for a lot of people, because a lot of people will get into like, oh, my partner's going out with his friends tonight and they're long distance. That means he's going to get drunk and girls are going to be hitting on him. And then like, I'm not even home for him to be like, I can't bring it. But like, why are you even thinking that far ahead? To me, like, if you're going to cheat on me, you're going to cheat on me whether I have a microscope on you or not. Like, if anything, you're going to cheat more if I'm accusing you of cheating and, like, treating you like you're in a cage when you've done nothing to deserve that. Don't get me wrong. If you do some weird shit to deserve that, you're going to be treated like that. But, like,
that's different. But if you haven't done anything, it's like, okay, since you're blaming me so much for this,
I'm going to just do it.
So, like, you know, I might as well just do it. So it's like, now we know that, like, you're actually blaming for something that I actually did rather than something that, like, you just made up.
It's like when you like were a kid and your parents would think that you did something and it was your sibling and you'd get so upset about it and you'd be like, well, I might as well do something bad now because I'm grounded anyway. And it's like, why would I ever put someone in a situation like that? To me, like, if you're accusing someone of something and they're not doing it, then to me you're doing it, because like, why are you so pressed about that issue? Like, if you have no evidence that your man is DMing other girls,
right,
why are you so pressed to open his phone and unlock his stuff and like go through his shit unless you're doing some shady shit? Like, that to me is like your guilty conscience. That's why I'm like, bro, like, I really don't care. Like, you can have my location, you can go through my phone. Like, if I ever feel like I need to go through my boyfriend's phone, that's not my boyfriend anymore. That means I don't trust you. Like, I don't need to ever go through your phone. Ever. I know that if I wanted to, you wouldn't care.
Right.
You'd give me your password and hand me your phone. And that's the trust level that we have. That's why girls are like, oh, like, should I like be checking on like through his phone? No, please never look in your boyfriend's phone. Like, please never do that. Just because like humans deserve privacy. There's a certain level of privacy. Like, it's the same way, like, don't look at his shit. Like, don't go through his shit. Like, his actual shit. It's the same thing. Humans deserve privacy. Leave him alone. Leave him alone in certain things. But also, men at the same time, like, don't be shady. Be transparent. Be like, hey, listen, when we did first start talking, I was talking to other girls, but at a certain point, I realized you were my favorite and I dropped all the other hoes. Don't be like, oh, I didn't talk to anyone else while we were dating. Like, no, come on. Like, there's no way. You know, just be real. Be transparent so that you don't get caught in a situation where you're lying, where she starts to question, is he telling the truth all the time?
Right. I mean, yeah. Is that like... I think those are like a lot of like really good points that we like talked about today. So like, I feel like we like kind of like covered everything, like long distance, like everything. Basically.
All encompassing.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I mean, I'm gonna kind of like wrap it up because of the time. And
Yeah,
like,
go for it.
if you have other things that you want to say, like you can just go ahead. But
Oh,
like,
no,
if you don't, you're kind of good.
I'm like, I cast.
good?
I could talk for hours. Like,
Okay. I feel like we're good. I feel like we kind of covered like everything, like long distance.
yeah, 100%.
So yeah, guys. I thought we kind of covered everything, and I thought it was a really good episode. Let us know what you think about long distance relationships. If you could do a long distance relationship, what you think about it. If you're not gonna be able to do it, and also just let us know where you like found this podcast. Like if you found it on Twitter, I get a lot of people say they found it on Twitter, so I don't know. If you found it on Twitter, you found it through Instagram, TikTok, whatever, just let us know so we can know better where to like put it out, like where to like put more energy into, like. Yeah, and thank you guys again for watching. Once again, it's your boy Vic, and it's Tori, and also Tori has a podcast, so I would like for you guys to like go check it out, stuff like.
It's called Tea with Tori podcast. If you want to hear me talk more, because I talk a lot. If you want to hear me interview some pretty amazing women that I have on there to talk about success, failures, just like everything that it is to be a woman, and break society's mold of what a woman's supposed to be, and just kind of show them what a woman really is. Check me out on Tea with Tori podcast. If you just want to follow me and my crazy antics and the things I do in my life, it's Tori212 Green on all platforms. But yeah, I had an amazing time here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I feel like I get to do a lot of podcasts, but I really more talk to women about business and not so much relationships. So this is nice to talk about, especially with a dude. I feel like a lot of times it's girls talking to girls and guys talking to guys about relationships.
True.
I love like the blending of the sexes and like kind of talking about what men think and what women think.
Right. Yeah, it was really great. I saw it. It was really like a good one.
For sure.
Thank you guys again for watching, and we're out.
Bye.
Bye.